Welcome to the Summer Service Learning Program, and thank you for agreeing to host students in this 8-week service learning course from the Center for Social Concerns at the University of Notre Dame. Your role as a site supervisor is vital in helping us to provide our students with an opportunity to see and address injustices of poverty and other social issues in dialogue with the theological readings of the course. We have created this video to provide an overview of your role as a site supervisor and to offer some promising practices that other site supervisors have incorporated into their experience. We appreciate all your efforts that contribute to the learning of approximately 220 students in this program each year.
So when we find out who the students are that are coming in, we reach out to them, send them an email, try to give them an idea of what they can expect, and particularly find out exactly when they're coming, and make sure that they're coming with their parents. Because that first interaction is really probably the most important.
When the students come to our site for the first day, I'm usually set with a list of information for them, silly things like copy codes, the little password that they'll need for the copy machine to work. We usually have an email address already set up for them. The goal for having those things in place is to make them feel like they are really going to be a valued member of our team for the summer.
Every volunteer who comes to My Brother's Keeper receives a very thorough 1-hour orientation the first moment they walk to the door, and that's true with our SSLP volunteer as well. Very important, I think, to embrace the SSLP intern in kindness and hospitality. So to really make them feel welcome, in addition to giving them foundational knowledge that they need about My Brother's Keeper. It's an 8-week program, so we supervise them very closely, in particular the first 2 weeks. There is a very regular daily routine at My Brother's Keeper and a regular routine over the course of a week. So we pay special attention the first 2 weeks to make sure that they comfortably settle into the rhythm of service at My Brother's Keeper, and that they know very personally the staff and their fellow volunteers.
We also will try on that first day to go out to lunch with a student at a local restaurant. There's a couple in the neighborhood that our school serves, and it's really nice for them to be able to get out into the neighborhood, see what it's like, and kind of experience usually an ethnic meal in our neighborhood. We spend a lot of time together. I think the purpose is twofold. Number one, for me to start building a relationship with a student, which is of great importance to me, that they feel like I'm someone that they can go to for advice, that they can trust, that they can bring any challenges to. And because the internship is relatively short, it's important to me that those first couple days are spent building that relationship.
Typically, the SSLP students have lived in the guest houses, so they share 24/7 in the life of the worker. I think the main goal is really to get to know our guests and everyone in the community at a personal level, and just share life together and learn each other's stories. That these relationships be mutual is really important to us.
It would not be the same experience if they didn't live on site. It's the difference between a job and a lifestyle, or a job and an experience. I mean, they totally get what happens here. They see what happens first thing in the morning. They see what happens late at night. They see what happens when there's less staff around. They just get to see so many different aspects, and it's really a fuller experience versus just, hey, I worked at a homeless shelter for a summer. It's, hey, I lived at a homeless shelter for a summer, and you can't even compare that.
Life together, everyone is sharing the same dinner and sharing the same bathroom, and it's very humanizing. I think one of the important things to keep in mind is also the need for rest and to have breaks from life in the house, and build in recreation and prayer, because you could spend your whole life here, and that could become very tiring for a student.
We found that what works best is a weekly check-in. So we'll have a standing time on our calendar once a week where we can sit down and update any projects. I think we'll talk both about the logistical work or the nuts and bolts of their responsibilities for the summer, but also speak more broadly to the experience. What are they observing? What is surprising them? What is challenging them? What are they thinking about? What connections are they making? And I think that weekly check-in is a good time for us to have those conversations.
We value very highly the importance of reflection in combination with service. So we have weekly reflection meetings involving our Notre Dame interns, as well as other student volunteers and seminarians that may be serving at My Brother's Keeper over the course of the summer. My Brother's Keeper has been connected with the Notre Dame Club of Boston for about 20 years now. We think it's critically important if an intern's going to have a good summer that they're embraced in hospitality and kindness, and we see ourselves partnering with the Notre Dame Club of Boston on that. Two pieces of advice that I would offer to new sites. The first is to understand that relationships like these are a two-way street. I think many times as charities we think of service as a one-way street. It's what is the student going to contribute to the charity. I think very important for us as charities to recognize that we have an equal responsibility to the student to make sure that they have a full, meaningful, enriching experience, that we're giving them as much in return as they're giving us. The second piece of advice is to understand that each student volunteer who walks through your doors are different. It may be the same program, but different young men and women coming in each year. They have different interests, different abilities, different talents. So talking with them about the experience, allowing them to offer input on what they'd like to get out of the summer, so that you're not providing one constant volunteer opportunity, a one-size-fits-all experience. Going out to Notre Dame for the weekend seminar at the Center for Social Concerns was just an outstanding experience. We have a relationship with a school that's 1,000 miles away, so the opportunity for us to come on campus and to put faces to the names and the emails and the voices that we hear over the telephone, to understand all the hard work that the CSC staff puts into these summer service projects, to meet other partners out there throughout the country who also host Notre Dame students, to learn about what they do well, and maybe things that haven't worked. It was very educational, and I know I left inspired and committed to doing a much better job as an SSLP supervisor and as a site. So I can't say enough about the experience.
And they do everything and anything that we ask them to do with open minds and open hearts inquisitive minds as well, and with a great spirit of willingness to sacrifice and willingness to be uncomfortable so the guests can be comfortable. For our staff, it's enormous, because sometimes, we've been here, a lot of us, there's not a lot of turnover here. And so a lot of us have been here for a long time. And so to get to see the enthusiasm, the excitement, the dedication and willingness of the students is a real shot in the arm for us too.
This has been a really good program for us. We've been doing this for 14 years and just never really had a bad experience. It's been great. I think the biggest benefit for us is just the energy that the students bring, the energy and the enthusiasm, and they help us to see the world, as college students do. And that's great for staff who've been doing this for a while, and it may need a refresher and a reminder about the wonder that there is in serving that those students bring. And so, we wouldn't stop doing this for anything.
The emails and the communications we've gotten at the end of the summer from so many of the students talk about how their lives will never be the same because of some of the guests that they've met, how their perspective on people who are poor has changed. Because we encourage all our volunteers to speak with our guests, because so many of our guests are hungry for that more than they're hungry for food. In the conversations with the guests, there's a whole new perspective that's developed, and that will live with them for the rest of their lives, and the world will be a better place because of it.